Parole in place is going to be issued to people that are married to U.S. citizens. Here are the top 10 things that you need to know. Number 1, you have to be married to a U.S. citizen. Number 2, that marriage has to have taken place on or before June 17th, 2024. If you have a common law marriage, you can get a court order likely in your state to acknowledge the date your common law marriage began. Number 3, children that are under 21 and unmarried of undocumented people that are seeking parole in place because they in fact are married to a U.S. citizen also are eligible for parole. Number 4, you have to show that you've been continuously residing in the United States for 10 years. Get a binder together and get documents that establish that you've resided in the United States for 10 years. Tax returns, pay stubs, letters from employers, rental agreements, mortgage statements, utilities, medical records, school records of your children, anything and all that can show that you've been in the United States for 10 years. You don't want major gaps because you're going to get a request for evidence. So it's really good to be thorough. When I file applications that require 10 years of continuous residency, I like to see one document from every month of every year. Obviously, there can be some gaps, but that's what I strive for with my clients. Number 5, if parole in place is granted for you, you'll get an approval notice. Then you have 3 years for your spouse to file for your lawful permanent residency. Number 6, if you have a criminal record, we're going to have to wait to see the federal regulation, the final rule, to determine if you're eligible for parole in place or not. Certain people with certain criminal records are not going to be eligible for parole in place. Number 7, are you eligible for parole in place even if you can't adjust status in the United States? The answer is very likely. Many people have the permanent bar, so they are going to be able to file for parole in place and for the work permit, but that doesn't give them the right to then seek residency because the permanent bar is a punishment and it requires you to live outside the United States for 10 years before you're eligible for your lawful permanent residency. Number 8, what will the filing fee be? We don't know right now what the filing fee will be. I'll keep you posted. Parole in place is usually $500 or $600 for other applications, but this application could have a completely different fee. Number 9, if you're in the process, you have the I-130, the 601A waivers approved, and you're waiting for consular process, can you also file for parole in place? What should you do? Yes, you can file for parole in place. Yes, you can get a work permit, and you can either abandon that application and file for your adjustment of status in the U.S., or you can do the work permit, obviously based on parole, and still continue the consular process. That's up to you, that's up to your lawyer, and it depends on many factors. Number 10, I would suggest you adjust status in the United States rather than consular process if you have potential inadmissibility because of alien smuggling, if you need a criminal waiver, which can only be filed after your interview at the consulate, or if you have any sort of potential flag for a permanent bar. Like, share, and follow. I'm the Immigration Queen.